Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Jack, Conrad. This is the 45 Euro 2021 round of 16 predictions. We're getting this in just under the wire. We started out with 24 teams. We've eliminated 8, and that leaves some really interesting matchups and some other matchups that we're not all that excited about.
Ah, come on. This is Euro football. You can't be not excited about Ukraine, Sweden.
That's the one that I'm not as excited about.
The final match of the round of 16.
So Wales opening against Denmark. All eyes will be on Christian Bale.
Christian
for
Bale.
Gareth Bale.
Christian
God,
Bale.
That's a rough start.
He's going to be the
He's
Batman
gonna come
actor.
out as Batman. Gareth Bale for Wales. It's going to be, I think, Kieran Christensen at the back, and you got Delaney and Højbjerg in the middle for Denmark. And I think they're going to continue the magic. You know, it's going to be a tight affair, but 1-0 to Denmark.
Yeah, I have a 1-goal win for Denmark as well. I think that Wales are very good, and this is going to be a very evenly matched match. But Denmark have a lot behind them right now. Wales, not saying that they don't, but Denmark have a lot of emotional baggage that they finally was able to turn into a really, really big 4-1 win against Russia. So they were able to break open those floodgates, get the 3 points, get through to the next round, and then they have Batman on the other side. But I think it's gonna be a strong performance for Denmark, and I'm optimistic they can pull it out.
No Christian Bale.
No Christian Bale.
Italy looked, as we've talked about, amazing in the group stage. They didn't concede a goal. They only gave up 2 shots. I made 2 saves, I should say. But it's the midfield that's just going to pass all over Austria. Jorginho, Locatelli, Barella just going to dominate. David Alaba has played every position except center back, which is what he will probably play. Unfortunately, he can't play all 11 positions for Austria, but he hasn't played the same position twice so far.
And you didn't even mention their best midfielder, Verratti, who played for the first time in their last match, who is one of the best all-round midfielders in the entire world.
It's like a cheat code to come in at that stage.
I think it's reportedly going to be Locatelli or Verratti. I think you put in Verratti. As good as Locatelli has been, Verratti is just different class.
You'd have to change your formation if you're going to put both of them in there.
Yeah, and I don't think you do that. I think you play the 4-3-3 with Verratti on the left side of that. And I think that you cruise past Austria.
Now put a 4-4-2, just have him sit back in front of the back four. But I don't think that's the way Italy want to play.
No. Stick with what you've been doing very well. The 4-3-3 has been working really strongly. I mean, you only conceded 2 shots. There's no reason to change that, just to incorporate Locatelli and Verratti. Just pick one. Give the other one 30 minutes off the bench.
Sorry, Austria doesn't look good for you. Wijnaldum, Dumfries, Blind, De Ligt, De Vrij. They had a weak group, but they looked really, really good. Netherlands did. Meanwhile, the Czech Republic looked really, really good with Schick, Souček. They're going to take a lot of pressure. They're going to try to just attack on the counter and do what they can. But I think Netherlands have enough here.
They're good at pressing pretty high up the pitch as well. The Czech Republic are. I think they were a surprise. Number 2 in their group. Number 3, I forget who finished 2nd and 3rd in that group with England. But, I mean, they looked like a match for England in a lot of parts of that match. So it's going to be a close one. I think I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually even going into extra time, and it was a 3-2 win in extra time for the Netherlands. But
Czech Republic were the 3rd place finisher going through.
Yeah. Netherlands look good going forward, a little shaky at the back, especially when you think back to that
back three,
Ukraine match where they conceded 2 to make it equalize, but then they won that one 3-2. So I'm optimistic Netherlands can pull it out, but I am a bit worried about them. They haven't looked great this tournament. They've done enough, but they've had a few flaws. So
Belgium, Portugal, look, De Bruyne, Lukaku, Eden Hazard are on a mission. They looked amazing together for the first time really in that last match with any kind of duration. Portugal, very, very good, but they've not looked great. I think Ronaldo probably gets another brace here, take his tally to 7, probably win the Golden Boot with that, but they looked really terrible against Germany.
Yeah.
They were lucky to look as good as they did against France, but they don't have enough. I think Belgium's depth is really the difference here.
I think Portugal are pretty deep as well, but the issue with Portugal is that I think they have more depth than Belgium do. I think 100%.
Not at the same level of quality, I don't think.
100%. I think in defensive area, Guerrero and Semedo have been very poor in the fullback positions for them. So for Belgium, I think they look like they're a more coherent footballing side versus Portugal just looked like a mess in the last few matches. I know they did enough to get through with the draw, but I mean, France did not play at their best, and they really, I mean, they were not fortunate to beat Hungary, but they struggled against Hungary. They struggled very badly against Germany, and they showed a lot of flaws against France. So I just think Belgium are a bit of a better unit, better side, and I think this is going to be a very good match. I'm excited to see it, but I think that Belgium do edge it.
Next up, Croatia and Spain. I can see this one going to extra time. Croatia is very, very stout. Spain has not been efficient as they have been in the past. Obviously, they're a much different team, but Busquets, I think, will make the difference. It's going to come down to him and Modric in terms of who can really drive the midfields forward. Not a lot of confidence in Morata if you're Spain or a Spanish follower. I think Croatia just have barely enough to eke this out.
I think Spain really did have a big performance against Slovakia, putting 5 past them. And, I mean, you hope that you didn't just use all of your goals in that last match, but they create chances at a very high clip. Croatia, I think that their group was
much more disciplined.
I think that Spain are a better side than Croatia.
Talent-wise, yes, but I think Croatia are playing better as a team.
I don't even know if I agree with that either.
Maybe aside from that last match with Busquets back.
I mean, Spain should have won every single one of their matches, but they didn't, but because of their own accord. So I think this is completely in Spain's locker if they win or lose this match, because if they show up, they win. If they don't show up, then you leave the door open for Croatia. I think that they very narrowly keep this one a 1-0 win.
France and Switzerland. France, we talked a little bit about this. We talked about Portugal. They were better than the 1 win and 2 draws in group stage, but the penalties in the Portugal match really hid how dominant they were in that match. Pogba versus Xhaka goes to Pogba. Conte versus anybody goes to Conte. And that front 3 in France is just ridiculous. Griezmann, Benzema, Mbappe.
Mm-hmm.
Talent is ridiculous there. Switzerland folded like a cheap suit against Italy. They did well against Turkey, but this is going to be like their 3-0 to Italy, I think.
Yeah, I think this is just going to be France saying, all right, well, now it's
time
win
to
or go
play.
home, and I'm just going to show up now. I really don't see Switzerland in this match, and if we're just completely wrong, well, we're completely wrong, but France have far too much talent for Switzerland. They've played okay, Switzerland have. They've done, I think, one good performance in the 3 matches that they've had, but France have been remarkably below their talent level. And I mean, they could just sleepwalk and get knocked out by Switzerland, but I don't see the amount of talent allowing that to happen.
England, Germany. England have the easiest path of all the group teams in the group stage, but they've got a tough start with Germany. England did look better with Maguire at the back in the last match of the round of 16. In the opening group stage matches. But it feels like it's going to be high scoring, which means it goes 0-0 to extra time, which is what you think. Because Germany really confused me. They lack all the structure, the discipline that we've accustomed to seeing from them, and they leak a lot of goals. But I think they can score. They scored 2 early on the break. Southgate's going to have to change his approach.
Yeah, but I don't understand where you're feeling this high scoring. I think it's just gas.
Because it's going to be 0-0. I'm just hoping for a better match.
This is Gareth Southgate's England, and this is a end of an era Germany side. I don't see this being many more than like 3 goals in this match. If there's 7 goals in the match, I'm happily surprised. But maybe it's a 6-1 repeat.
Harry Kane wakes up for this one.
I think that man's comatose. I don't think he shows up for this one at all.
4-3 Germany.
1-1
loses.
England eradicates some.
It means it's going to be 3-0 Germany.
Yeah, England
It's going to happen.
England get rid of some penalty hangover.
And our favorite match, Sweden-Ukraine. Actually, this should be interesting. Forsberg and Isak for Sweden. Yarmolenko, Zinchenko for Ukraine. Sweden have been playing better, but this is a war of attrition. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be a 1-0. You've got a 2-1 tight both ways.
I think it's going to be a tight match regardless. I think Sweden look good. They have some good young talent. I think they have the youngest player in the tournament. I forget his name.
The 18-year-old midfielder.
I think he was 17, actually, because I think Bellingham's 17. He's younger than Bellingham. But they look like they're ready for their next generation to be coming through with likes of Isaac and the 17-year-old guy who's only known as a 17-year-old guy. I think they're going to get a win here. Maybe that's the only win they'll have. Then they'll get knocked out by England or Germany, whoever passes through that match. But I think that quarterfinals of the Euros is a very good start for what could be a new generation for Sweden.
Agreed. Jack, Conrad, Footy 5. That was our look at the round of 16 matches. We will come back for the quarterfinals here and maybe make fun of ourselves as how wrong we are with some of these predictions. Please do let us know what you think in the comments. Look for us on the Twitter at the Footy 5. Take care now.